Not long ago, deep within the shadowy forests of Tasmania, there lived a creature that seemed pulled straight from both dreams and nightmares. A predator like no other. It looked like a wolf, but bore the dark stripes of a tiger. A pouch at its belly made it both eerily unfamiliar and hauntingly close to home. People called it the Tasmanian tiger. On the Australian mainland, it vanished over 3,000 years ago. A few survived on Tasmania, until the last of its kind died alone, caged in cold iron bars. In 1936, the world fell silent. The chapter closed. Forever? Professor Andrew Pask doesn't think so. At the University of Melbourne, he leads a scientific endeavour unlike any before. The resurrection of the Tasmanian tiger. Not from fossils, not from fantasy, but from the atomic blueprint of life itself, its genome. A mission that dares to cross moral frontiers and confronts the deepest question of all. Do we have the right to bring a species back from oblivion? The Tasmanian tiger did not vanish by natural disaster, not by evolution or climate change. It was killed systematically, deliberately, legally. The government once paid bounties for each slain tiger, based on the belief that it preyed on sheep, an accusation never proven, but enough to silence a bloodline. It measured about 1.5 meters, weighed nearly 30 kilograms, and resembled a German shepherd in form. But it was a marsupial, carrying its young in a pouch like a kangaroo. Thylacine cynocephalus, the pouched dog head, was the scientific name that captured this strange and spectral being. And even though it's been declared extinct for nearly a century, rumors persist. Faint shadows in the brush, eyes claim to have seen it, ears that recall its bark. But when Pask tested thousands of scat samples, placed hair traps across the island, the results were the same: no trace, no life, no hope, except in one direction: resurrection. To bring back a species, you need its genome. No one thought it still existed until a strange specimen emerged, a juvenile Tasmanian tiger preserved in alcohol since 1909, long before DNA was even a concept. From this forgotten relic, Pask's team decoded the entire genome, nearly 3 billion genetic letters, a detailed map to a world long lost. But a map is useless if you can't read it. You must understand why each gene becomes what it does. A squared jaw, long limbs, the sleek silhouette of a night predator. So the team turned to the very beginning of life, the newborn. All marsupials are born alike, tiny, red, blind, and hairless. They look nothing like adults, more like soft, helpless jelly beans climbing blindly toward the mother's pouch to continue developing. What, then, transforms them into wolf-like hunters? To answer this, the team scanned every known juvenile Tasmanian tiger in the world with CT technology, slice by slice. They reconstructed 3D models that unveiled secrets never seen before. For the first 3 months of life, a Tasmanian tiger looks like a kangaroo. Then the genome lights up a different path. Jaw muscles swell, legs lengthen, skulls reshape for the kill. It's as if the body is rewritten mid-script. This isn't just development, Pask says. It's evolution in miniature, within a single life. To rebuild the creature, they had to rewrite its blueprint. DNA segments were edited, gene sequences reprogrammed. The tool of choice, CRISPR, a surgical blade capable of slicing into the code of life with precision. But to insert missing genes, they needed a living relative, a host. That host was the numbat. Numbats are distant cousins of the Tasmanian tiger, sharing a common ancestor from 30 million years ago. They're small, striped, termite-eating, and still alive. Not identical, but close enough to serve as a biological scaffold. Pask's team sequenced the entire numbat genome and compared it to the Tasmanian tigers. The result, a 95% match. The remaining 5%, the difference between a woodland sprite and a ghostly beast. Genes responsible for bone structure, muscle form, and skull shape were inserted into mouse embryos. When activated, these genes glowed blue, like memories of the tiger flickering within another species. We saw light tracing the spine, whispered one researcher, like a galaxy alive inside bone. They weren't cloning. They were rebuilding. A cell was born, carrying the full genome of an animal long dead. But a cell doesn't breathe. It doesn't move. It needs a body, a womb, a mother. No female tiger exists to carry it. So they turned again to the numbat. Yet numbats are too small to bear a tiger's fetus. The solution? An artificial womb. They created a chamber to nurture the embryo outside the body, long enough to eventually transfer it to the numbat's pouch. It's not the womb that forms the species, Pask explains. It's the pouch. The pouch, evolution's biological chamber. If the embryo survives, the Tasmanian tiger could return. A living, breathing individual, stretching its claws, smelling the wind of its ancient home. Not a clone, but itself reborn. But why? Why do this? For Pask, the answer is clear. We owe this species a debt. The Tasmanian tiger didn't fade from nature. It was eradicated by us. And if wrongs can be made right, this is the way. Its return might restore more than memory. Tasmania's ecosystem is unraveling. Without a top predator, smaller animals have multiplied unchecked. Chaos spreads. As one ecologist put it, without an apex predator, an ecosystem is like an orchestra without a conductor. And here's the miracle. Tasmania still exists, not paved over, not erased. It remains wild, still ready, still waiting. But are we wise enough to play creator? Bringing back a species is more than genetic wizardry. It's a declaration that extinction is not always final, that some mistakes can be redeemed, that human intellect, when humbled, can amend a line of history written in error. Critics warn this may foster dangerous complacency. The idea that we can back up nature with a few strands of DNA. But not all species have preserved genomes, not all habitats remain, and not all creatures can survive in a world transformed. The Tasmanian tiger is a rare exception where genome, environment, and ecological need converge, a door still ajar before time seals it shut. And if, one day, a striped silhouette glides through Tasmanian underbrush, if a dry bark echoes through the trees, it won't just be the ghost of a species. It will be a second chance, a promise rewritten, a story once ended, now daring to begin again.